Just
Right.
a few things I wanted to touch on before I get into the craziness that ensued yesterday.
Okay.
The child trafficking.
Yes.
This is a uh, very powerful movie. Looks like haven't seen it yet, but looking forward to watching it.
Hmm.
But it's been a really big problem. I mean, it's a global problem.
Absolutely.
It's a multi-billion if dollar industry. Hundreds of billions of dollars were made by trafficking not only children but also humans as slaves, and the cabal really likes their, you know, young children for many different reasons. They're
Hmm.
part of their rituals. They use them as sex slaves, and it's disgusting.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I personally had experience with, and I'll mention it again, is I did some research into a person that lives in Maryland,
Hmm.
and that person uh, basically kind of works from home, let's just say. But it was a little bit confusing as to why a person like this with that profile, because his file had been scrubbed clean,
Hmm.
uh, was so highly protected. So we went to do some research into him and found out that there were a lot of unmarked black vehicles outside his home. He's probably about 50 some odd years old now, lives in his mother's basement. I have a copy of his passport. So I started looking into his computer activities. Well, it turns out that this man uh, runs not only a global child pornography ring. Once you click through the child pornography, it also leads you to a child auction.
Oh, God.
Now, this isn't your atypical run of the mill pornography, it's worse. And there was a lot of sodomy and weird things that were going on. A lot of children were hurt, if not ended up dead.
Yeah.
And So I found out he was using servers from a company, a large global company called KPMG. And I've mentioned this before. He has been providing said children all over the world to politicians and royal families and other people for a long time now, and he basically works for them. And it's because he had also been previously arrested for such activities. He was a normal person. Then he was scooped up by, I believe, some two senators in the Democratic Party.
Hmm.
Yeah, shocker here. So I uploaded all of the files, and it was quite disgusting to watch. That's how I know about some of the knives and weird things they were doing with these kids, and that you could buy said children for a few $1,000s up to $10,000 and $20,000, depending on child. And in doing some research, like one of the children we had found based on these activities coming from this person was one that was in a politician's house in Texas. We'll leave it at that at the time. And he was chained to a bed and living in an attic. I know. So I uploaded all of the files, all the sites, all the information and everything, and sent it over to the cyber division of the FBI. This is a couple
Hmm.
years ago.
Okay.
And they were doing an investigation into this person. And then all of a sudden, they got two calls from senators in Maryland, and they were told to stop.
Of course.
Now, that's not the FBI cyber division's fault, but they were told not to look any further into it. Because what they would have found was the biggest file that would have gone against politicians in the United Kingdom, politicians in the United States, politicians all over the world. Now, we're not looking to cause public disarray, here, but this guy, nobody has stopped him. His name is David Rea, spelled REA, and nobody has stopped him. And he's still running to this day. That's right. So he's also paid to actually put slanderous materials about me online. You'll know him as Team Bubba.
Oh, yeah.
He
That's
runs
him, huh?
Team Bubba. So with enemies like that, you know, that obviously shows our integrity over here, because
Right.
he's also paid in various items as well, till his quote unquote term has been, let's just say he pays them back for letting him off and not letting him not go to jail. He's paid also in drugs. He's highly addicted to, I think it's crystal meth. I'm not sure what it is exactly. And they provide him with the illicit drugs in order for him to continue his addiction and also continue his work. So he's not, there's something called meth head. Once you've been addicted to it and you've been doing it for a long period of time, it takes a long time, if ever, for your brain to rewire itself, so to speak.
Right.
But this is just one example of what we're kind of fighting up against, and another one of those reasons why I say, we're not going to not need enforcement anytime soon. We are going to need people to correct the situation globally. People like this crazy people like this will always exist, until they don't, hopefully. But nonetheless, this guy is selling children every single day, and he has been even since I turned in that file. It's been about 2 years now since I did that, maybe longer, and nobody's done anything. So he's just happily selling children over there in Maryland from his mother's basement.
It's so stereotypical, right? At one point when we were talking about the silent circle, though, you mentioned that they had the power to even shut down child trafficking. You still believe that's the case?
I do believe that is the case. I do believe that is a possibility. But, that's the global syndicate. You're talking about worldwide supply to a deep state that is dying.
Right.
That's the customers. You do have occasionally people that are just not right. Mr. Ray has not been right since he was born. So this is not, an unusual situation. And those people will always need enforcement for stuff like that. But as far as globally in the supply chain, they could definitely make a severe dent into the supply chain for sure. But as far as the lone rangers like these people, you still going to need enforcement for that type of stuff. So that's why, just to further let you know why we're still talking to militaries, why we're still talking to agencies, why we're still talking to all these people. The world is just not going to all of a sudden become good. Our governess, so to speak, or governments all are not going to wake up one day and all start acting like Mary Poppins, the governess, the nanny. It's not going to happen. I mean, we need time. It's going to take time, but the steps are being taken and they are moving forward. And I'll talk a little bit more about the silent circle as we go along here in the events of yesterday and the day before. Okay. Next, the Israel offensive that's going on in Jenin right now.
Yeah.
So come to find out, the Israelis have been told by their deep state handlers, also known as the Rothschild Group and the remaining members of the Sanhedrin, they have been told that due to an alignment that is happening, which supposedly happened yesterday, their Trump bucks will now be cashable.
Oh, jeez.
So they failed on the digital currency, which the Israelis hold. And they failed on the pallets of cash, which they also have been given and have been working for. And now it's Trump bucks. Now your Trump bucks are going to be made good. So they were feverishly looking to see if their Trump bucks were good yesterday and the day before. And the attacks, so to speak, in the West Bank were due to the fact that they thought that they were actually going to get paid for what it is they were doing. And it all ties into another part of what's going on, Iran. So Iran allegedly joining the SCO now. Remember, they're Chinese. I know they look Middle Eastern, but they're not. They're Chinese. Khamenei, although the real Khamenei is dead, whoever's playing the part these days is Chinese. He's always been British or Chinese. In other words, he's a member of the Order of the Dragon. Yeah. Just like we talked about the Trump tapes, we also have the Khamenei tapes, where he pledges his soul to Lucifer.
So on his 40th birthday was that?
Yep, 40th birthday, yeah. And the whole same thing, the children, the blood drinking, and the pledging your soul to Lucifer thing. And he's supposedly the head of the church. Now, people think Islam is different than Catholicism, which is different than Christianity, which is different than, all of them have been infiltrated by the other side. Mm-hmm. Manipulated. The words are not the same. The same thing with Judaism. They have the Black Sanhedrin problem, just like we have over here. So this is not a religious thing in any way from our standpoint. Mm-hmm. When you have religious leaders that stand up and tell you to fight for Islam, and to fight for, freedoms and whatnot in the Middle East, and you're trying to force the hands of other countries in your area, in Kurdistan and other places, you might want to know what devil you're dealing with. So those videos have gone out about an hour ago to the entire Middle East, and now everybody's going to see what that man's really made of, and then they can make their own decisions if this is your leader.
Yeah.
But all of this goes in line with the Order of the Dragon's plan to move the power center of the world to China. Mm-hmm. But things didn't work out the way they wanted yesterday. So it is unclear, based on texts and based on what you can find on the internet, about the exact alignment of Sirius with our sun. Now, for those of you that don't know, Sirius was a portal to the dark side. It was also a portal to AI systems in the lower astral at one point in time, and it hasn't been that way for a long time. But that doesn't stop the Order of the Dragon from telling the whole world to put everything you're doing on hold. Don't leave us. Don't shut down the Fed. Don't lock the doors. Don't do anything. Just give us 24 hours. This is what was said on the 3rd. And we'll be back. We're coming back. So they sent their people to places like Yellowstone Park looking for the ball of death that was no longer there. We talked about a little bit ago. They went to the Ukraine. They went to Egypt. Everybody's waiting for this thing to open. Now, for the record, the exact time of the alignment was at 4:42 a.m. Eastern Standard Time yesterday morning. But these people really don't know. So now they're trying to tell the world, as of this morning, or yesterday afternoon, actually, that they may have gotten the day wrong, and to give them until the 7th. Because if you read online, it could be any time between the 3rd and the 7th this year. And everybody basically, and thank God, finally, a couple of hours ago, almost to the minute at the time of this recording, around 9 o'clock, a little after 9 my time, everybody said no.
Good.
I know. Thank God.
It's just one date after another with these people. Oh, okay, give us some more time. We need more time, just a day. And then they say the same thing next week.
And they say the same thing over and over and over again. And, this is a game of chess for sure. But the one thing that we have going for us on our side of it, which is the alternative to them, obviously, is that when we say we're going to do something, we do it every single time. We do not talk. We do not, sit here and explain what we're going to do. We just get it done. And we have done it consistently now for years. If we say we're going to build systems, we build systems. If we say we're going to create accounts, we create accounts. If we say we're going to do things, we do them. And it might not be at the exact time that people want, but it's done very methodically and very carefully as we move forward here. So, Sometimes accounts go here, sometimes accounts go there, and it's well thought out. Now, speaking of accounts, and speaking of the silent circle that you asked about earlier today, they were very busy yesterday as well because nobody expected them to perform.
Who to perform, Kim?
The Order of the Dragon.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and their loyalists. Nobody expected them to perform. Umbrella military corporations all over Egypt looking for this and that yesterday, trying to get a signal from something or other, and nothing happened anywhere. And so the Silent Circle was busy as well. We had talked about the fact that they had taken some major media outlets a while back, and yesterday they became the new management. So we should start to see some real news and somewhat in the future. Let's say it's going to take time, coming out soon. And maybe you'll get a new cushy office somewhere, Sunny. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. What media outlets? Can we ask for names of the media outlets?
I'm pretty sure it was CNN and Fox yesterday. Okay. I haven't confirmed BBC and a few others, but I definitely know it was CNN and Fox. So we should start seeing some forward movement. But like I said, it's been about an hour or two since the green light was given by, let's just say, the people who no longer can or want to wait. They have given their support. These are your unknown generals, so to speak, that run most of the agencies, not only in the U.S., but in 75 other countries. And they have decided that no more alignments with Uranus. You're making a fool out of us. And they're laughing at us, actually. And I am wholeheartedly laughing at those people. Because, I mean, come on. How many alignments later? What's the next one? Okay, so you could wait they wanted everybody to wait to the 7th.
Right.
The Federal Reserve people also showed up here, a few of them yesterday, and also demanded that our visitors that we're meeting with also wait until the 7th. Because the alignment won't be over yet, and we're going to keep trying. We're going to keep hacking. It's been how many years of hacking now? 15?
Mm-hmm.
15 years. And the only money that anybody's ever seen, albeit them dumb enough to give it to the deep state, was from me. The budgets that were paid and whatnot, that was all me. That was behind everything. The only one that has ever done anything is me. And I'm not trying to be boastful in any way. I'm just saying that when I give my word to do something, my word is always good. If I say I'm going to be there, I will be there. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And that is really, really important in moving forward.
Yeah.
And gaining respect from people. So that's the deep state news for the day. On the other front, the Treasury Department also has called and said that they would be ready to move forward anytime after the 4th. They too are getting pressure from, Yellen is the one that calls them and tells them they're going to get fired. And they're like, well, you don't work here anymore. But they're still afraid of her because of who she works for. And on the other hand, they've got some support from some very serious people on the flip side. Now, Yellen is like that person that sits at the bus stop, keeps showing up for work every single day and showing up and waiting for this bus to come, and it never comes on the one hand. And on the other hand, she shows up for work every day, even though she got fired like 10 years ago. And we're like, you're not getting a paycheck anymore and all of that. Well, no, but I can't tell anybody at home I lost my job.
Wow.
Well, they would love to ignore everything we do. And I know that. But she has no authority to do anything. So she's bopped around the world. She has not been back to the Treasury Department since her departure.
Okay.
She doesn't have the right to enter the building anymore since her departure. Mm-hmm. However, she's still running around and talking on TV on behalf of a bunch of British people and Chinese people, talking about plans of grandeur and alignments that never come. So, publicly, that would be a great thing to do for the news media outlets, is to announce who got fired.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be?
Yeah, and how many people are running around wearing masks and stuff too? There's a lot of stuff I'd like them to announce. But we'll
Yeah.
start with Yellen. We'll start
Well,
there.
speaking of people running around in masks, we do expect some forward movement in the near future. There are leaks going on around the internet about Biden suffering a massive heart attack, quote unquote, around the 1st of July. There are rumors of, as I talked about the last time, of the White House shutting down for a period of time. There's a lot of movement in the political sector right now, and we'll see how it all turns out. I don't want to ruin anybody's operation, and I don't want to rain on anybody's parade. But we are starting to see some leaks because that's out on the internet. So we're starting to see some leaks about information coming out, and how that's all going to play out. Who knows?
Yeah.
Will they announce martial law officially? Maybe due to the financial crisis or some other reason. We don't know. That is a real possibility if we don't get cooperation.
Right.
And it wouldn't be out of alignment with what everybody's expecting anyway. So
Yeah, the white hats and the people that follow the white hats, they're expecting that anyway. Yeah.
I know. Can't buy a white hat anywhere. Everybody has one.
I know.
So we're doing well. I mean, a lot of forward movement. I was pretty much fed up with the fact that I'm like, you people are still running around during some alignment with something. It took me a while to even find what the alignment was. I'm like, what is aligning now? I'm like, like, what the heck? It's always something or other. And I swear to God, they have a book of alignments.
Oh, I'm sure they do. It's probably bound in somebody's leather skin.
Yeah, probably.
Written in blood.
Yeah, written in blood or something. Yeah. Nonetheless, there is a point in time where you just have to move forward, period. Like, no more waiting, no more contemplating an alignment, no more nothing. The world cannot wait, because as the world gets, the liquidity gets lower and lower and lower and lower, there's less places in the world to get money from. That's starting to creep up and starting to cause real problems globally. On the other side, their dates promised are going down and down and down, and eventually they meet in the middle.
Yeah.
And you've got nowhere to go. One is going to overshadow the other, and I do believe we're getting real close to that point right now. So we'll see. The rest of the stuff that's been going on, I really can't talk about right now, just because I don't want to ruin anything. And things are in progress, and both sides listen to our news. So yeah. I don't want to cause any more issues, but it looks like for sure some actual decisions have been made. Let's hope nobody finds a squirrel. A squirrel. Everybody make a left.
Yeah.
But I'm hopeful. I'm also not expecting the situation in Jenin to continue much longer.
They're saying it wrapped up. That's what the latest headlines are, is that it, is a 2-day thing. It's over and done now.
Isn't that funny how these things work out when no one gets paid yesterday?
No one gets paid. They're like, okay, conflict over, guys. Well, if that's the case, though, why are we not seeing the same thing in Ukraine and Russia? Like, why aren't they done?
Well, from what I heard, what they're using, and this was a few months back, Putin, the original Putin, was a fairly wealthy person.
Yeah.
You don't stay in a president's seat that long and don't gain enormous amounts of wealth, especially since they're a democracy, but they're kind of not. It's more like a tyranny and a group of people that run the country. And, he's probably worth $500 billion, maybe more.
Wow.
And maybe, I don't know, somewhere between $500 to $850 billion. That being said, there are people who work with him that have given the authority to some others in Ukraine to keep the war going. Now, are they going to continue it after this massive failure on the 4th? It'll probably continue at least through the 7th. And then depending on the next alignment, that they believe in over there, then maybe it'll go on longer. Who knows? We can do alignments until the end of days. I'm sure there's an alignment every day with something somewhere. So are they going to continue after that? Who knows? But I heard that most of this was being funded from his original accounts.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we traced back most of the money, where it's coming from, who's using it. Matter of fact, since the oligarchs also lost a lot of money about a year ago in their partnership with the Black Sun in America, in black trading programs and BlackRock, and they lost a couple $1 trillion. They didn't want it back because I put it at the KGB headquarters where it belonged, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And I just left it there, and I'm like, hey, I just wanted to let you know I recovered all your money. Here it is. Give me a call, give it back to you. And nobody ever called, so it's still sitting there. Yeah. Wow. Oh, well. But yeah, those are the accounts that they're using right now to keep the war funded and going. And that's per the order of the Chinese deep state and the British. They're raping everybody. I told you, the Kuwaitis, they've broken the Saudi Arabians. They're just stealing money from anyone and everyone to keep their show going at this point in time.
I saw a quote online, and who knows if it was legit or not, but there was a Rothschild that said, if they fail in Ukraine, that the order is done. Like they're gone. Like there's nothing left. Ukraine is holding that whole thing together.
Well, so, yeah, that in their underground base with the cornerstone and some kind of being in stasis that's not there anymore.
Yeah, so that's not really helping them anymore, though, right? If the being's gone, doesn't have any power.
Nope. Right. Still waiting for that alignment for something to happen. Is the order done if they're done in Ukraine? I think they're done anyway. I don't know what planet they're living on, or who's giving them instructions or whose old instruction manual they're following, but they're done anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't see where they're going. I mean, other than the fact they can still pick up the regular telephone now because they lost their red lines. So they can still pick up the regular telephone now and call somebody. And will they actually follow orders? Ukraine, who knows? Are they still following orders? Well, some people are still following orders. In their ascension to the SCO is a perfect example of Iran. But for their viewing pleasure, the entire Shia Muslim world will now be watching Khamenei's tapes of his induction.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, we'll see what happens after that.
Yeah, we'll see if everybody continues.
Yeah. I don't know. After the Trump tapes were revealed, there were still people like, yeah, so what? You never know with these people. It's like there's no shock and awe. It's
we all eat babies. Doesn't everybody eat babies?
Doesn't everybody eat babies? I thought that, it's just a delicacy, right?
Yeah, it's just a thing that we all do. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Definitely separates the wheat from the chaff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, needless to say, I'll be happy when the truth about that finally comes out too. And it's not about vengeance. It's not about wrath. It's just about the lie. It just needs to end. All these lies just need to end. It's a show. It's a movie. The movie is over. Everybody's already gotten up out now and finished their popcorn, took their soda, and everybody's going home now. That's it. It's over. The only one that's still playing the dang movie is the people that used to run the theater. So,
well, I think that's why when we were talking about the media element and the takeover of some of the media outlets, like it really is going to take some of those, and it's not even a right or left thing. Like you said, they took over CNN and Fox News. So this is not, a Democrat Republican thing. This is, but until people hear some of this stuff on an outlet that they trust, right? I mean, barring some sort of amazing move of God, I feel
Yeah.
like that's what it's going to take to get some people to go, well, wow, okay.
Yeah, it might. Who knows?
Yeah.
I posted something on general chat this weekend about if you see the same headline in several different locations, then it's not a headline, it's advertising.
It's so true. That was a
I
good
know.
one. Yeah. It's what it
Yeah.
is. We see it all the time, and like combing different sites for news stories. It's like, oh, well, they have the exact same thing. And I witnessed that too when I was in news. It was just like, oh, so-and-so's reporting this. We got to do that. But that's all part of the system. They want to be able to put out a message and it goes everywhere. So they create this kind of competition thing even between the local stations. And you feel like if you don't have the other stuff the other people have, that you're not good enough, when really all that information was fed from the top down and you're all reporting on stuff that really isn't all that accurate most of the time.
Yep.
So that's how
exactly.
it works.
And that's why our field messengers work out so well. They're actually on the ground. Is anybody in Paris right now? Is anybody in France? Is that really happening?
Yeah.
They are burning things left and right in Paris. I know that they burned in a library a few days ago, about 5 days ago, which contained a lot of records of the families of the Merovingians and their involvement with the Catholic Church and a number of other things were in there. old documents. And then there was another post office that's well over 100 years old in the Philippines that also contained a lot of documents that people don't want to get out.
Are these documents replicated anywhere else? Like, with the Hall of Records have any of this information?
Of course they are. Okay. Don't be silly. But they think if we burn them down, then they no longer exist. What's next? The Library of Alexandria in Malta?
Yeah.
That's underground. Then you have catacombs in the Vatican. Get a lot of stuff down there too. You're just going to set it all on fire? Is that the plan? And then nobody will know how evil you are?
Yeah.
Now, my personal opinion, there's been a lot of disclosure amongst the higher ranks of militaries and agencies all around the world. They're gathering a lot more information than they've ever had before about who they're working for, about who they are. That doesn't mean that, in some cases, it's self-preservation too. It's you sent me there and then you sent those people there on the same day. It's the same thing with Iran and Israel. This is a theater. They're ordering Iran on the one side and Israel on the other side. And for some reason, it's been how long now? I mean, I remember Netanyahu sitting up there with the bomb cartoon picture like 10 years ago at the UN. How long are we going to have this conversation? It is the same conversation you've had over and over and over again. They're under threat. They're under threat. They must, that they're cabal, right? Just based on that. Okay, so Iran supposedly has been a threat to Israel now for 10, 15 years? Allegedly.
Right.
Now, if that is the case, that has got to be the longest running joke you've ever heard. It's the same thing with them and their alignments. There's always going to be an alignment. You always get paid tomorrow, not today, tomorrow. So it's the same program. I don't know. They're like those little wind-up toys. Like I said, they just keep going in the same direction, expecting something different to happen, or fall off a cliff, and they're okay with that. And they just get up and still keep walking. And it's weird.
Right. Yeah.
No, but it's got to end. It's ridiculous at this point. They're hurting a lot of people, and that's what they want. They especially like to hurt people and create massacres a lot around special alignment dates.
Okay, so on that note, there's been, and I refuse to report on it because I could see it coming a mile away, but all of these like mass shootings in the U.S. right around July 4th. So, I mean, is that just were those, do we know if those were legit, or was that just sensationalized headlines to get people to freak out and cause fear?
Probably both. They were actually, remember, they were trying to blow up the Golden Gate Bridge. They did try to detonate it, by the way, and figured out that didn't work out. So they were pretty angry about that yesterday morning. They thought they had an in there. And so when you can't create something like that, you either create a sensationalized media or you actually create, they do have, like in the case of George Foreman.
Yeah.
No, that's the grill guy. George, come on, go.
Are we going with boxing? What are we talking about? Burgers or boxing?
No.
What are we doing?
Come on, Sonny. The shooting, the police shot the guy. They were trying to create Ferguson 2.0.
George Floyd.
Floyd, I got the F right. Give me a break. Okay. George Floyd. So he was actually shot by one of their members who was posing and acting as a police officer at the time. And the whole thing was staged and it was all theater, but it was enough to rile up and go another round with Black Lives Matter. And Ferguson 2.0 is what they were going for. And is that any different than these shootings, around the country?
Right.
I would say absolutely not. Are some people hurt sometimes? Yes. I mean, do things happen sometimes? Sure they do. And there's always crazy people. Like I said, I gave you the one-off guy over there.
Yeah.
But when you can't create something big, you create a lot of little things to make it look like something big is happening, and that creates fear, and they need fear to open up portals. They need that. They need that to happen. If they could have got everybody to gather at Yellowstone Park yesterday and for a mass killing, of some cult or something, they would have done it just to open portals.
Wow.
Yep. Did I tell you about the story about the origin of "Don't drink the Kool-Aid"? Did I tell you about that on the news?
I don't recall. I mean, that's a cult saying, right? Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
It actually did. It originated from Jim Jones.
Jim Jones.
Remember this? Well, I didn't say it on the news. Okay.
I don't think you did. So
Jim Jones was the founder of the People's Temple. I think it was called the People's Church or the People's Temple.
Yeah.
And he created a number of these like little cult, like Waco, Texas, like little communes and whatnot. And one of them was in Guyana, the country of Guyana. And at that place in Guyana is where they actually had a mass suicide event. Almost 900 people died.
Wow.
Yes. And they had laced the Kool-Aid with cyanide. So the term "don't drink the Kool-Aid" comes from there, or "you're drinking the Kool-Aid" comes from that particular incident. But anyway, they use these large massacres, just like the one in Guyana, to have a portal there. It's a sacrifice to their lower astral gods, is what it actually is. It's not about, I mean, they don't care how many people they have to kill. I don't know if there's a specific number, or the more you kill, the lower astral being that comes to help you. I'm not sure how that all works. But that is where it originated from. So there's many of these sites all over the world. They're in Egypt, and they were all there going to the Wall of Tears and the Galapagos Island, mass places where thousands and thousands, if not millions of people died. Great Wall of China, all locations where massacres happened, including here in the U.S. There was a lot of Indian massacres, a lot of fighting, that kind of thing. Mass grave sites make good portals. That's their motto. That's their headline. Yeah.
Well, and this reminds me of World War II, when we were talking about the concentration camps, and wasn't there a portal? Which
Auschwitz.
one was it? Auschwitz. Yeah, there's a big portal under Auschwitz, which is why that became such a big hub.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It wasn't the only camp that there was a portal at, but it was one of those locations. Yeah, for every soul they send down there, that's how they feel about it. And then it's the energy behind it, putting people in gas chambers, burning them alive. The longer it takes, the more adrenochrome that's produced is one example. Plus, on top of it all, you get the added benefit of that extremely, extremely low frequency. Yeah. Eventually, they got machines and other things to do a lot of that for them. But, in those days, a lot of it was from murdering of people. I know.
Yeah.
The purer the soul, the more essence they produce, the more essence that can be transmuted into dark essence, hence the reason for the kids.
The children.
Yeah. I
But
know.
this has been going on for a really, really long time. I mean, when we think about these kind of ritualistic behaviors, we think of some foreign country like in the middle of nowhere and they're doing something in the woods or whatever, when these rituals are taking place like right under our noses from people that are appearing on TV and politicians and really well-known people that everybody would know are doing this or have done in the past. And a lot of these people are gone now. But I mean, it's just incredible what has happened on this planet.
Yep. All because of an alignment.
Yeah.
It's got to change. It's time everybody moves forward. It's time we clean up the mess. We don't need to publicly disgrace anybody. That's not going to help anybody that's not going to help us move forward. We just need to clean it up and stop it from happening and keep moving.
But the dead guys have to be dead. The dead people, please stay dead.
Yes. Dead people stay dead.
We're not going to elect another dead president. Please.
Not only in the United States, but in other countries.
Ever. Yeah, anywhere on this planet. You have to have, I was going to say you have to have a pulse, but who knows? They probably put them in some sort of cryogenic chamber. They have a pulse.
Okay, number one, you have to be able to walk upright all by yourself.
All by yourself. Yeah.
A wheelchair is fine. I'm okay with that. But you must be upright all on your own without the assistance of anything else.
Absolutely.
Adrenochrome or otherwise. Fair enough? Not a lot to ask.
Seriously.
So they are, I do see some movement on that front, amongst the aides talking and what kind of parachute because it's the Biden administration that you're fighting against. So you're fighting against operatives that are on the side of the Order of the Dragon for sure. They are all, they're American people, most of them, but they are Chinese. So, there's a fight going on between the Order and their operatives that are American and our side that are like, hey, breathing presidents only wanted here, no more stasis, nobody's coming back alive, this is not happening, that kind of thing. And then, of course, you've got the Trump operatives look like Duck Dynasty and the Beverly Hillbillies had a baby. Like they're crazy, boot cowboys that think that they're, something.
Yeah.
And they're not. So, they want another run in there but this is the old way of doing things. There's plenty of money to be made in other ways rather than lying and stealing and cheating the American people. But see, people like that are okay with it. Those people are with the Cheyenne people who just said, hey, so what? He ate a baby, took some Lucifer into his body. I mean, that's okay. Let's make him make America great again.
Yeah, I know.
So, no, people are people. Make your, you make your own decisions, and where you go from here is up to you. So, but that's about the only thing I can really say as far as an update today. I can't really give you much more than that.
Because there's a lot going on. I can tell. There's stuff that you're like, we can't talk about that yet. So maybe Friday.
There's meetings. There's, I mean, we are, this is like probably the busiest airport, helicopter riding people, than we've seen here in a long time.
Well, that's encouraging, though, that you are getting meetings and stuff, right? This is not just meetings of them meeting, but, right, you're part of this, too. So, good. So
it's all positive, all moving forward. Absolutely nothing happened yesterday as far as the meetings and stuff concerned. Reason for that is because, of course, the alignment with Sirius was very serious. It was very serious to have alignment with Sirius, and the entire planet, every operation everywhere stopped. I know. Yep.
Well, hopefully they're learning their lesson, you know.
Sunny, you're so funny, Carol. You're so funny.
I'm rooting for him to come to the light. Come to the light. I know. Or just go away. Either is fine. Go back to source or get on our side. I don't care. Just do something, you know, besides your little rituals and alignments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depart.
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 That's fine.
We'll
too.
see. You never know. People depart every day.
Yeah.
Let's hope it's no longer our young children.
Yes.
You know.
Yes, for sure.
Well, that's the update for Wednesday. What is it? The 5th of July.
5th. Yep.
And we'll see you again on Friday.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Kim. That wraps up our news update for Wednesday, July 5th.